Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel announced a lot of classic actors returning from older Marvel movies for Avengers Doomsday, even pre-MCU movies like the original X-Men. There's been a lot of talk about Chris Evans coming back for more Marvel movies as part of Doomsday and Secret Wars 2. We know he's going to be in those movies as another version of Steve Rogers from some other universe. But now it seems like he's also coming back in the new Fantastic Four movie on top of that, after just being in Deadpool and Wolverine as his original Johnny Storm from those classic Fantastic Four movies. It's almost like he's going to be in more Marvel movies the next couple of years than he was in before Avengers Endgame when he was the main version of Steve Rogers' Captain America. Brace yourself, he could do these cameos all day. Also, the bags and bags of Marvel cash probably don't hurt. Marvel even had him under contract for a post-Endgame Captain America solo movie that they didn't wind up making because they couldn't come up with a compelling enough story for him and Haley Atwell. That's right, they were going to do a movie after Avengers Endgame for Chris Evans. So it's almost like he never actually retired after Avengers Endgame, he just started playing other characters from other universes or other versions of his character. But it does look like his character in the brand new Fantastic Four movie will be completely different from the one he's playing in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, so we'll break it all down. Because there's a ton of questions about why they didn't announce him during the big Chair Watch stream for Avengers Doomsday. This seems like it's one of those reasons. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. We're going to get a new Fantastic Four trailer really soon, too. I'm not expecting to see him in any of those trailers, but I do think that we have an idea of what's going on with him in the movie. If you didn't see the news, though, it was reported Chris Evans would be in this new Fantastic Four movie this summer, so it raised a lot of questions. We just saw his Johnny Storm get wasted in Deadpool and Wolverine. R.I.P. That's kind of what you get, like he kind of got himself killed with that motor mouth. The way that Ryan Reynolds explained that cameo scene is that was basically how he got Chris Evans to agree to come back, let him be as foul-mouthed as possible, like his original Johnny Storm, leaning way more into that side of the character. But it was just meant to be that one-off funny cameo scene, like that version of the character he was coming back as wasn't meant to survive and go on and do a bunch more stuff.
Gotcha.
It sounds like, though, when he agreed to come back for that, he had signed a larger contract with Marvel for Avengers Doomsday, Secret Wars, and whatever's happening during the Fantastic Four movie. But I think it's pretty obvious that he's not going to be a version of his Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four movie, like they're not doubling down on the Johnny Storm character of his. Keep in mind a couple big details, a couple big differences from the MCU. So the Fantastic Four movie takes place in an alternate universe in the mid-1960s after Kennedy was assassinated. They're using this premise to explain why their Earth looks so different, like why history goes down so differently after the appearance of the Fantastic Four and everything looks so retro-futuristic. Basically, the Fantastic Four come along and make the Earth better, like Reed Richards uses his genius to make the world better. It'd be sort of like if Iron Man came along during the 1960s and used all of his genius to spread clean energy, his arc reactor technology, all over the Earth during the 1960s. Howard Stark kind of started doing that during World War II era, but it did not catch on the way that it did during the Fantastic Four's universe. But the whole idea is that their Fantastic Four timeline, their universe's timeline, the major point of divergence is when the Fantastic Four get their powers in the 1960s, meaning that everything that happened before the 1960s sounds like it's relatively close to what happened in the MCU history. Meaning that a lot of pre-1960s big characters might be similar to the ones that we saw in the MCU. So because we're talking about Chris Evans here, obviously he played a very big character in MCU history that debuted long before the 1960s, he might wind up in this new Fantastic Four movie as the Captain America of their universe. None of the reports that say he's going to be in the movie say what part of the movie he's going to be in or what his character would be doing, but it sounds like if he's going to be a version of his Captain America in their universe, they'll just explain that their timeline was relatively similar, like he was created during the 1940s in their version of World War II, he fought a version of their universe's Red Skull and wound up in the ice too. They have not completely revealed what their timeline was like before the appearance of the Fantastic Four, before they got their powers. But if we're going to be seeing an alternate universe version of Chris Evans' Captain America, and we want to present like a vastly different looking version, and we need to tie this into Avengers Doomsday, wouldn't a cool twist be if it was actually Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom who winds up being the one to save that Captain America from the ice instead, and that's how he becomes part of his team?
You know, Cap was the first character to ever be on screen for Marvel.
That is a flat-out lie.
Ever.
Because newer reports, while I was actually in the middle of making this video, are saying that he's supposed to show up in the post-credit scene, and that's also where Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is supposed to show up for the first time. So it sounds like they're going to show up together, like they'll be seeing Doctor Doom's team for the first time at the end of this movie. That raises a whole lot of questions like, how did he wind up on his team in the first place? Did he wind up being the one to rescue him from the ice, and that's why he's loyal to this Doctor Doom? Or are they from a completely different universe? It just sounds like whatever winds up happening to this alternate version of Steve Rogers in his universe, this Doctor Doom has been able to convince him of his plan to save the multiverse with all the incursions, and whatever's happened to him has driven him a little bit darker, because it sounds like Doctor Doom's team won't think of themselves as being evil. Like, we call them the evil Avengers, but it just sounds like they'll be an opposing force to the MCU heroes. So at least when this version of Steve Rogers, Nomad, whatever they wind up calling him, enters Avengers Doomsday eventually as like a big character, he's fighting the main MCU Avengers, it's because they have opposing viewpoints, Civil War style. This sort of brings back around the Captain America Civil War marketing with Captain America versus Iron Man, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. Now they're coming back in the post-credit scene for the Fantastic Four. Sounds like it's going to look a little bit like this, only instead of being funny, like them going up against each other, it'll be them preparing to assault the MCU universe. Brace yourselves, they can do this all day. They can destroy universes all day. There's been a lot of theories since that first Fantastic Four trailer came out that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom will be the main Doctor Doom of their universe. And if you remember, during the Avengers Doomsday Chair Watch stream, they waited to reveal Pedro Pascal's, Reed Richards' chair being right next to his Doctor Doom chair, implying that their characters did have some kind of history together. But during the Fantastic Four movie, it sounds like the beginning of the movie picks up with like a real quick intro to their characters, and they're going to fast forward to them actually having powers. So we're not going to go through like a complete version of the origin story in a linear way, the way we did during the Chris Evans era of Fantastic Four. There are a couple newsreels that you see Ben Grimm, Thing, watching in the movie while he's in Thing, for like after he's gotten his powers, remembering what his life used to be like before he got his abilities.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, you mean?
It sounds like the movie is using a lot of devices like that to explain things in history, so that it doesn't have to waste a whole lot of time doing their origin story again, or a lot of montages to explain how history is completely different. Like, they'll speed run a lot of that stuff. We will see who else shows up that's similar to MCU versions in their movie. Like, Howard Stark was very active during the 1960s, back during World War II, the 1940s. Wenwu, the Ten Rings were very active, the Eternals were around. Are there Eternals on their Earth, in their universe? The other big character, because we're talking about Captain America from their universe, is the Winter Soldier, because if the movie takes place after Kennedy's been assassinated in the MCU, if you didn't realize, Winter Soldier is the person who killed Kennedy in the MCU. People have been making way more jokes about it since they revealed that he was running for Congress in Captain America Brave New World. Like, wait a minute, the person who killed the president is now running for a seat in Congress, and he's supposed to have won that seat by the events of the Thunderbolts movie. So you have Congressman Bucky, who assassinated the president. How is that for a redemption arc? Wow, that's crazy. So we will see if these Fantastic Four have a Winter Soldier that existed in their universe, or if Bucky never became the Winter Soldier, or things went down differently. Really, when you're talking about the major changes, the divergences in history, it's the appearance of the Fantastic Four in the 1960s in a couple of characters' backstories that would be similar to MCU characters like Iron Man, Tony Stark, Doctor Doom, having to be very different. All because you want the movie to explain why their Doctor Doom looks just like our Tony Stark. Like, is he a variant? Or is it just a coincidence? Is this a multiverse kind of thing? Are they just going to wave their hands and not explain it? Because the Marvel movies also tend to do that a lot too, where they don't explain big plot points like that. The way that Kevin Feige has explained it so far, at least the last year, is that Robert Downey Jr. is playing someone who has always been Victor Von Doom. He's always thought of himself as Victor Von Doom and then became Doctor Doom in adulthood. He's not somebody who was named Tony Stark that then just started using the name Doctor Doom later in life. It sounds like they want him to be as mysterious as possible before Avengers Doomsday, and that's when they'll reveal most of his character's history. It sounds like a lot of the plot of Avengers Doomsday, the big twist that they're planning on, play a lot on surprise. Like, oh my gosh, we never expected this to happen. This is also supposedly how they're bringing Scarlett Johansson back too, because she was asked about it and she's like, no, Natasha is dead. I'm not coming back as Natasha. Probably because she's coming back as a completely different version of the character from another universe.
You're sort of running the rogue.
Really good news there is that we'll get more Fantastic Four footage soon, and we're supposed to get that first Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer at the end of the year, like we do every single time there's a big Avengers movie. Like, there is a cycle for the way they promote these movies, where they release the first big teaser where you actually see some footage by the end of the year. I would not be surprised if by the time we get to Doomsday or even to Secret Wars, the trailer winds up feeling a lot like that post-credit scene, like the end tag scene from Deadpool and Wolverine, where it was just clips, like a highlight reel from the old X-Men and Fox Marvel movies, because so many of those characters are coming back. They could literally just do a montage of clips from those movies instead of doing an actual trailer. But everyone, let me know in the comments, if Chris Evans is playing a totally different character from his Johnny Storm in this new Fantastic Four movie, who do you want him to be playing? Like, do you think he should just play their version of Captain America from that universe? And how do you want them to explain Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom looking the exact same as Tony Stark? There's a bunch of stuff coming up. My Daredevil Episode 7 video will post next week just like normal, and I'll be doing some more X-Men Avengers Doomsday videos soon too, just to explain what's going on with them during the movie, because it does kind of seem like an Avengers versus X-Men kind of film. Everybody click here for that Avengers Doomsday trailer video, and click here to learn why the Blade movie just bit the dust at Marvel. RIP. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.